Welcome to today's webinar. Today we will be discussing accepting credit cards for tuition without incurring fees. Today's presentation will be hosted by DIAMONDMIND CEO, Katherine Novikov. But first, a little bit about DIAMONDMIND. We're the leading provider of payment solutions to schools with over 900 K-12 clients across the U.S. We have a 99.5% retention rate with all of our clients. Established in 2003, we have over a decade of service towards schools, and we have always been devoted solely to schools. We also have direct relationships with major school vendors, credit card brands, and associations, and we're also endorsed by MBOA, MISBO, SOS, and PASBOA. Of the services we provide, here are a few examples. We offer credit card and ACH payment processing. We're the experts in campus-wide payment acceptance for schools. We work with existing vendors you have in place and help you come up with the most cost-effective solutions for your school. We also offer online payment forms. These forms empower you to create unlimited online payment forms without any coding knowledge needed. We also have a tuition payment portal. It's an online solution for accepting tuition payments without incurring processing fees and manage installment plans. We also offer a purchase card program. The Purchase Card program is developed specifically for business officers of independent schools. This helps you better manage your school expenses. For more information about our services, go to diamondmindinc.com.
The learning objectives for this session are as follows. First, to help you understand the utility to the school and parents of accepting credit cards for tuition. Secondly, to understand 3 key approaches to accepting tuition without incurring additional cost or a budget item. And lastly, to have an understanding of what other schools are doing and experiencing when accepting tuition by credit card. So let's start with why. What is the potential gain of accepting tuition by credit card? If there is no gain, then there's no reason to learn these methods. It's important to begin with the end in mind and to understand the utility to the school of potentially accepting tuition by credit card. In a nutshell, there's 2 primary reasons for accepting tuition by credit card: to get faster, more clear payments, and to reduce parental stress. And we'll take each of those in turn. In our decade of working with independent schools, we've learned that schools value fast, direct, and accurate payments deposited directly into their bank. We found that it's important for schools to know precisely what a payment is for in order to process and record that payment accurately. Online payments are an outstanding way to ensure that payments come in with the essential information needed to record the payment correctly. Online payments allow fields to be mandatory and therefore payments to come in with the necessary information intact. Credit card is one important aspect of online payments. All e-payments or online payments are rich in data. They're deposited directly into your account within 24 hours, and you'll find that the information is accurate when entered specifically by the parent with regard to their child, whereas paper payments have to be manually entered by school staff. Oftentimes the information you need to record the payment correctly is missing, hard to read, and of course there's a delay in the depositing of those checks, and it can take as much as a week or longer. A second important reason to consider accepting tuition by credit card is to reduce the stress on parents. We find many of our schools assume that parents want to use a credit card for rewards or miles, and that's true, some of them do. But another important population of parents can use credit cards wisely to help make payments on time when they otherwise are not able to. A recent study by NAIS asked 162 families that were applying for financial aid how they were planning to pay for tuition. And the results were interesting. You can see that many of those families were hoping and expecting to get school aid and, of course, to pull on their family paycheck as a way to pay. However, almost half, a little less than half of the families intended to use things like home equity loan, personal savings, grandparents, liquidating assets, etc., and credit cards to make up those tuition payments. Now, Credit cards are very unique and different among those alternative means of paying for tuition. And they're unique and different because they can be used as a bridge to avoid embarrassment or to avoid the necessity to pull money out of a source when the timing is not correct. What do I mean by this? Liquidating assets. It may be it's not the right time to liquidate assets because the stock market's down. Credit cards can be used to pay the school and wait a month or two or a week or two before liquidating assets. It may be that it's not the best time to reach out to a grandparent who might have needed to just put on a new roof. A credit card can once again be used to make a payment on a timely basis to the school while drawing on that grandparent, a month or so down the road. Similarly with home equity loans, it may be a bad time to take out a home equity loan if one is looking for a business loan and doesn't want that extra inquiry on the credit. So credit cards are a means to pay, but they're also a gap and a way to make a payment on time, avoid embarrassment, avoid the need to ask for special payment arrangements with the school, while still drawing on those other sources such as home equity, liquidating assets, alimony at a better time. In that regard, we'd like to share a few of the offers that are on the market today. You can see at 12 o'clock and approximately 2 o'clock, 2 offers on the market today where an individual can have 15 or 18 months, 0 interest, no late fees. That's that bridging functionality that I mentioned before that can really help a parent to be able to pay and to spread that over time or to use that time to wait for a better opportunity to liquidate assets. You'll also see on the left cash back of 1.5%, 2%. Again, these are offers on the market currently today. That can help to pay the cost of a convenience fee. It doesn't cover it completely, but it covers it in a significant way. So parents have a lot of motivation to use credit cards, and allowing them that option can help them stretch their resources and avoid embarrassment. In a nutshell, credit card payment options can empower parents to use their resources more wisely and in a way that is better timed to the market. So now that we've established why and what credit card acceptance in the area of tuition can do for a school and can do for a parent, let's talk about the methods that can be used to avoid costs when accepting credit cards for tuition. There are essentially 3 methods. The first is a surcharge fee program, the second is a convenience and service fee program, and the third is a discount for cash, which is really not what it sounds like it is, and you'll see that when we get into it more in depth. Before going into the 3, I'd like to mention a brief history and timeline of these programs. Prior to 2008, when schools would ask us, is there a way for me to pass on the cost of processing to the parent, we would tell them no, because the card industry rules at the time were restrictive and did not allow that. It really opened up in the year 2008 when MasterCard came out with their convenience fee program. At that time, one could charge a convenience fee on MasterCard, American Express, and Discover, and with those 3 major brands, many of our school clients began to accept tuition by credit card, a couple hundred. Now, Visa has followed suit with a similar program this year in 2014. Furthermore, you may have heard that in 2013 there was a class action lawsuit against Visa and MasterCard that required them to permit all types of entities accepting credit cards to pass on that convenience fee. So these programs are slightly different and have different ins and outs to them. We'll be talking about that in more depth here. We'll focus primarily on the convenience fee and service fee program, and we'll look at them as a unit, focusing on the common denominators. The discount for cash approach has always been possible, so we have it at the bottom spanning this period of time. So let's begin with the convenience fee program, the service fee program. These are special carve-out programs developed by MasterCard and Visa, respectively, to allow certain categories of organization to pass on the cost. MasterCard calls it a convenience fee and Visa calls it a service fee. One of the most important things to be aware of is that with a convenience fee program and a service fee program, you may allow a third party to charge this fee on your behalf. What that might look like on a cardholder statement is something like this. That cardholder, if you had a third party charging the fee, might see the tuition in the name of your school, whereas the convenience fee would be in the name of, for example, DIAMONDMIND as the third party charging it for you. Another thing to keep in mind is that with the convenience fee program and the service fee program, you may only pass on the processing fee for tuition, board, and related fees. So anything that's more commercial, such as a summer program you might run to non-students, laptop sales, would not be eligible to participate in the convenience fee service fee program. Furthermore, it's important to note that pre-registration with each of the major brands is required, and that is something that DIAMONDMIND would take care of for you as our client. So the convenience fee service fee program in a nutshell is a special program, a carve-out program by Visa and MasterCard. Only schools are eligible for it. In addition, such other entities as government, utility, and higher education. These type of programs have been permitted by Discover and American Express for a very long time. This program allows you to charge a percentage on both credit and debit cards. 2 transactions is preferable, as you had seen on the prior slide. You must limit it to tuition, board, and related fees, and a third party is permitted to do this on your behalf. Now, if you're in any of the following 10 states, you want to check with your legal counsel. Some legal counsels will say it's permitted, others will say it's not permitted. Some will say a convenience fee or service fee is the same as a surcharge. Others will say it's slightly different. We have schools in these states that have had advice saying they can, under certain circumstances, use these programs. We've had other schools in the same state have legal counsel saying they could not. So it's terribly important for you to determine how you might implement such a program and then to check with your legal counsel. Now, the surcharge fee program is the option that was put into place as a result of the settlement. So it was imposed by the courts on Visa and MasterCard through the settlement in January 2013. It allows any organization to pass on the cost of processing for all kinds of payments. So all industries, all payments, no limits. You or I may walk into a restaurant or a shoe store and find that they wish to pass that charge on to us, and they are now permitted to do so under the settlement agreement as long as they adhere to certain rules. First rule, no third party may do this on their behalf or your behalf or anyone's behalf when a surcharge program is being used. What that means is that for a school, that the full amount of the item to be purchased and the surcharge amount would be in the name of the school on the cardholder statement. So there's only one entity charging the fee, blending it into the total amount, and that would be the school itself. So in this example, tuition, camp, and bookstore are 3 separate charges, each of which has had a surcharge blended into it, and each of which would appear on the cardholder statement in the name of the school. Of course, disclosures must be provided at the point of entry or point of sale. That would be online or in a face-to-face environment. And the final surcharge must be itemized on the receipt, similar to the way you would see sales tax itemized on your receipt. So blended into one total amount, but itemized separately on the receipt. And here's just a brief example of a disclosure some disclosure language you might use to explain this at your point of sale or online. Now, it is crystal clear, even to a layperson, that these 10 states do prohibit surcharging. And the Visa and MasterCard will not allow you to register in these states to implement a surcharge program. So, in summary, a percentage fee may be charged on all credit cards in the surcharge fee program. You may not charge a percentage on debit if you're using a surcharge program. There's no restrictions on the type of payment, third party must not do this for you. It must be done in a single transaction, and your surcharge amount is capped at 4%. You also must provide a 30-day notice of intent to surcharge, and again, that is something that we would do on your behalf if you wish to use this program. Lastly, the Discount for Cash program, which again is a slightly unusually named program and not exactly what it sounds like. What we learned through the years and working with our advisors is that independent schools have essentially always been publishing and invoicing in an amount that is pre-discounted, an amount that presupposes that the payment is going to be in cash or cash and check. And so in order to implement a Discount for Cash program, one can simply begin to clearly label and explain that all of your amounts, all of your tuition and fees are stated in a discounted amount, and that you will accept tuition by credit card, but that the non-discounted amount must be calculated for you. That can be calculated through an online interface. That could be calculated in a face-to-face bursar office type of situation for those schools that are large enough and have that type of arrangement. We find few of our independent schools do, but if you had a bursar, you could do it face-to-face. The key point here is to make explicitly clear that you are communicating, invoicing, publishing tuition in a discounted for cash amount, and that a non-discounted amount would be calculated for payers wishing to take advantage of credit card. So it might look like this on the website, as you see in this example. It might look something like this on a student bill. You could choose to provide both the discounted and the non-discounted amount if you wanted to. It's also perfectly acceptable to provide only the discounted amount on the student bill, and then to remind that the payments due are stated on the invoice in a pre-discounted amount. When a parent wishing to pay online would come to a DiamondMind tuition portal set up for your school, they would see that they can continue to pay the already discounted amount if they wish to pay by e-check or ACH. If they wish to pay by credit card, the portal will calculate for them the non-discounted amount, which will be higher by approximately 2.75%. It is important to note that even those states that appear to prohibit or restrict surcharging, most of them explicitly permit a discount for cash approach in their statutes. I have not read the statutes of all 10 of the 10 states, but I have read several of them, and most of them do explicitly permit this discount for cash. Once again, though, we would recommend you read the statute and discuss it with your legal counsel. So in summary, you have the three programs. We spoke first about the convenience fee or service fee program. Then we spoke about the surcharge fee program, and last, the discount for cash program. This slide provides you a visual summary of what is permissible under each of the programs. And with the download, you'll have this slide available for future reference. Quick look to bring our topic to a conclusion at what some of your peers are doing. We serve over 900 K-12 schools in 46 states. Several hundred of those, over 300, are accepting tuition by credit card. And those schools that accept tuition by credit card are spread out rather evenly across the United States. Of those schools that are, of approximately a sample of 200 of our schools, most are doing a service fee or convenience fee program. We have another the next largest segment is doing the surcharge fee program, and the smallest is doing the discount for cash. That's not necessarily because it's the least attractive program, but it's something we've only recently started communicating. In many ways, it is the least cumbersome and the most consumer-friendly program, and we do expect that that program or that approach is going to be gaining traction quite quickly. Because administratively it can be a lot easier, and from a sort of consumer-facing point of view it can be more friendly. This is a glance at the number of transactions per school when schools accept tuition by credit card, you just see that the ACH or the online e-check transactions are quite significant. Again, those have the benefit of the faster, direct, highly information-rich payments. They don't have the advantage, obviously, of providing the embarrassment or the bridging mechanism that credit cards can provide. Some preliminary data suggests that the average transaction size on e-check for a tuition portal is larger. This is based on a sampling of data, and some of those schools do manage their own 10-month plan, so they're sending out invoices for a smaller amount of tuition every 10 months. We're going to be building on this data over time, and we'll have some better data shortly. With respect to the size of school and who's accepting tuition by credit card, again, we find a fairly even spread among schools of different sizes. We took a look at the type of cards being used by parents. We found that the majority of cards are your standard credit cards without the extremely rich reward programs associated with them. The next largest segment are the reward program cards, and the last is the debit. And again, this sort of underlines the data that suggests that parents do use credit cards as a bridge, as well as being motivated by the rewards. And lastly, e-check only. We do have some schools that do e-check only as a way of getting started with electronic payments in the area of tuition. Not a large percentage do e-check only, about 4%.
Thank you for watching today's presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to call us, email us, or go to our website. You can call us at 888-566-0945, email us at info@diamondmindinc.com, and there are plenty of resources at diamondmindinc.com.